Welcome to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Jennifer Burgert and Judge Dixie Parks. They're both from the Court Angel program. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Let's see. First of all, for those who might not be familiar with this program, let's tell a little bit of the history. What exactly is it and how did it get started?
The Court Angel program is a monitoring program established by the probate court in 1992 when Judge Klunk was still the judge at that time. It was established with the assistance of AARP, and the purpose of it was to set up a program for volunteers to visit the court's wards.
Okay, that's why I wondered how the court system got involved with this, because I know there are folks who need help getting to their doctor's appointments or so forth. Is that what we're talking about? People who are going to help them get places or take care of errands or basic needs if their family is out of state, or am I thinking of something else entirely?
Well, for these volunteers, what they do is they visit the ward, and ideally they would also visit the guardian at the same time. The guardian will make the decisions and make arrangements so that the wards can receive the services that they need. But the volunteers in the Court Angel program, what they do is visit the ward to make sure that their basic needs are being met, and also to assist the guardian in terms of making sure that the services are being provided to the ward.
What kinds of services are we talking about?
It could be services provided through the Area Agency on Aging, which is now a different name at this time.
Okay.
I think it's Direction Home. And what they do is they provide home health care services and other services that might be necessary for an individual who is not ready to go to a facility and would prefer to stay at home, but does need assistance in order to stay at home.
What happens to a person who's in their home and they meet these criteria? What makes them did you say ward of the court?
In order to become a ward of the court, there has to be a civil proceeding known as an application for a guardianship. The application for a guardianship, in addition to the application, includes a statement of expert evaluation filled out by a licensed physician or clinical psychologist who gives their opinion in terms of the proposed ward's ability to make decisions for their health care, and as well as decisions to take care of themselves.
Are we talking about then health issues in addition? We're not just talking about people who have gotten older. There's some other issue at play here?
Just the ability to make sound decisions for themselves. Are they competent to make decisions that are in their best interest, the best decisions for them at that particular time?
So if someone, if maybe some children are out of state and they're concerned that mom is not balancing her checkbook right anymore, or might be getting taken advantage of as far as people preying on her to sell her something, that, there's a lot of con artists out there. That's what we're talking about, to have someone be able to come alongside these people and help them with their finances and so forth?
Well, those would be the guardians, and there are some volunteer guardians as well as professional guardians through agencies. But the volunteers that the court is interested in recruiting are individuals who are trained by the court, and they just visit the ward. The goal is to visit all the wards of the court. We have over 1,700 wards.
So this is to help someone not be so lonely?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's just to make sure that their needs are being met.
Okay. What kind of needs are we talking about, Judge Parks?
For instance, their living situation. If someone is at home, is the home appropriate for their needs? Do they have supports in the home if they need it? Supports in terms of being able to go around the house.
Mm-hmm.
Should they be receiving some types of services such as in-home healthcare services, cleaning services for their home,
food delivery?
Correct. They might qualify for Meals on Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Or any other in-home healthcare services. We're also talking about individuals with developmental disabilities.
Okay.
These are all these individuals are adults, 18 and older, in terms of individuals being under guardianship. And it could be someone who has suffered from a traumatic brain injury or some other accident that renders them unable to make decisions for themselves, and that could be a temporary period of time. Because we've had situations where the guardianship has been terminated because a person has improved to the point where they can make decisions for themselves. It could also be individuals with mental health issues.
So a lot of these decisions take place in your court, where you decide whether or not a person is in need of these services in the first place. Am I reading this right?
Whether or not they're competent.
Whether or not they are competent.
And the burden of proof is clear and convincing. That's why we need the statement of expert evaluation to establish that this person does not have the ability to make those decisions for themselves.
You have a very hard job. How do you approach that from one day to the next?
Well, it's actually a rewarding job.
Yes.
There are some challenges because some of the situations are not typical. You can't make up what happens at the court in terms of people's lives and the things that go on. You just can't make these stories up. It's just very interesting. But at the end of the day, you're glad that you're able to assist and make sure that these people are safe and are in a good place and receiving the services that they need.
Yeah, at the end of the day, their day is better than when they started their day.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Jennifer, what is your role in this?
I'm the director of the Court Angel program. So my role is to train our volunteers, go out in the community, do public speaking engagements with regard to educating the community about elder abuse and neglect, and also what our program does. We try to recruit our volunteers through some of our speaking engagements. We have brochures and presentations.
I'm sure that there are people listening thinking, oh, I could do that, and this would be very rewarding. What's involved in becoming one of your court angels, and what's required? Let's start there.
Okay. What's required to become a court angel is the first step is to fill out an application, and that is available on our website. Also, if they want to call the court, we can mail an application to them if they don't have access to the internet. They're welcome to stop by the court and pick up an application also. Once they fill out the application, there's a background check that we run. And then we offer trainings to all of our volunteers, and we do those on a monthly basis. We've just had our March training. Our next training in April is going to be on April 25th. And if anyone's interested in doing that, they're welcome to call the court. And we can set up some training for them as well.
What is that number?
The number for that is 330-451-7752.
Great. And what takes place at a training?
We start out with just some introductions. We give them information on what a guardianship is, for them to understand the difference between being a guardian and being a court angel visitor. So we're not asking them.
Right, and I'm still figuring that out.
And that's there's a little confusion sometimes with our volunteers with regard to that. But, they're not a court-appointed guardian. They are a court-appointed visitor. We're calling them our court angels. So what they do is they go out, they visit with the guardian and the ward, and that may be at a nursing facility, in a private home, in a group home. Sometimes our professional guardians, they may communicate with them over the telephone first and then make arrangements to meet with them along with the ward at those facilities or in those homes. So our training involves, explaining to them what that process is like, educating them on elder abuse and neglect, educating them on, how to approach a person with Alzheimer's or dementia or a developmental disability if they're not familiar with those types of situations, or if they've never had interactions with people with those needs.
Exactly. Are there some flags for them to be watching for, or that any of us could be watching for, that might be indicators of abuse and neglect in an elderly person's life that we know?
Yeah, there are. There's several. One in particular is, obviously any signs of physical abuse or neglect, so bruises.
And if they say they fell down, how do you know the difference? Is there a way to know?
Well, recurring injury or recurring types of issues that they're seeing. There's also, financial manipulation. There's emotional abuse. There's financial abuse.
And that was one that is new to me, financial abuse, but that is actually a thing. I think when someone's elderly, a lot of times you hear them suspect that, oh, they're stealing from me. You might hear that, and you think, oh, they're just not thinking right. Is there a way to know if if that's in their head or if this is actually happening? Any kind of signs that this is really a problem?
Well, in the court, the guardians have to submit applications to expend funds, and those are approved by the court, on on a one-on-one basis, our court angels may not see those documents or have access to those types. They're not going to be looking through people's checkbooks and whatnot. But if they're getting any sort of feedback from the ward themselves about some concern, and we encourage our court angel visitors to, try to meet with the ward alone. We don't always want the guardian there because the ward may not be comfortable expressing some need or some issue if the guardian's present during the whole interview. So we encourage our court angels to try to at least have a few moments with the ward, alone to speak and kind of get some real feedback from them if they have any concerns.
Ideally, the guardian and the court angel both have the same goals, and they're both kind of working in tandem, right, to be able to help these people make sure that their needs are being met. Am I understanding this clearly? Okay, and you seem to be nodding. But it almost seems like, okay, are there opportunities or are there instances where they might be working against each other? I'm still understanding why we need both. Because wouldn't the guardian be seeing that these things are happening as well?
Ideally, yes. But, unfortunately, they're not always necessarily looking out for the best interest of the ward.
The guardian is not?
Sometimes, yeah. And we've seen cases in the court where, guardians have been removed for inappropriate action or, not caring for the ward in their best interest.
So this is a double check, being able to just make sure that a guardian is appointed for someone, make sure that their needs are taken care of. And then you've got a court angel kind of coming alongside, making sure that the guardian's doing everything they're supposed to be doing.
Right, and also to assist the guardian as well, because they may not be aware of what services are available.
Who's not aware?
The guardian.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, help me understand the role of the guardian then. I know what we're doing today is we are trying to recruit court angels. Your job is easy. Sign up. Okay, not easy, but it's not being a guardian. What is being a guardian?
Well, being a guardian means you're a substitute judgment decision maker. The guardian acts in the place of the ward, and they make decisions based on what's in the ward's best interest.
Is this usually a family member, or is this someone that might just sign up to be a guardian?
Most of our wards have family guardians. Over 1,000 of the wards have family guardians. And I'd say 99% of the time, everything goes along very well. Mm-hmm. There's also third-party guardians. They can be a volunteer guardian who's not a family member, or it could be a professional guardian who is paid from other sources. So there's different guardians.
Okay. I get it. All right. So, but the Court Angel program, we're looking for volunteers. Yes, this is not a paid position.
No.
Okay. And the Court Angel then, let's to repeat exactly what their role would be.
They're visitors, but they're trained visitors. They go visit the ward, and it would be great if the guardian is present as well. And they visit usually once, one ward per visit. That's going to be the only time they see them. It's not going to be on an ongoing basis.
Oh, okay.
Because the guardian is the one that is required to see the ward
on a regular basis
and make sure everything is being done for them.
So the Court Angel will come alongside one time and just meet with them one time. So they're not visiting them regularly.
No. And what we'd like to do is have everyone visited at least once a year.
Okay, and there's quite a few. You said how many again?
More than 1,700.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. All right. So we are looking for Court Angels, and we are visiting with Jennifer Burgert and Judge Dixie Parks. They're both from the, tell me which court?
Probate court.
Probate court, yes. Okay. And we do need to take a quick, short break, but stay with us. You're listening to Our Community.